Remember when summer felt endless? Like waiting for your birthday took forever? Now you blink, and it's suddenly December. Again. Why does time feel like it's accelerating as we age? Here's the twist. Time isn't speeding up. You're just measuring it wrong. And over a century ago, one philosopher figured out why. Think back to childhood. Those long, lazy summers. The suspense of waiting for your birthday, counting down days with breathless anticipation. Time felt thick, slow, alive. Fast. Forward to now, you open your eyes. And somehow, it's the end of the year again. You ask yourself, wait, how is it already December? Didn't I just make New Year's resolutions? Clocks are still ticking at the same rate, but your mind is screaming, where did the year go? Here's the mind-bending truth. Time isn't the problem. Your experience of it is. French philosopher Henri Bergson exposed this eerie phenomenon more than 100 years ago. He argued that we've all been hypnotized, brainwashed even, by clocks, calendars, and deadlines, taught to see time as a cold mathematical line, a series of seconds, minutes, hours, marching forward with brutal precision. But Bergson challenged that view with a radical idea. He called it la durée, duration. According to Bergson, real time doesn't live in seconds or minutes. It lives in your memories, your emotions, your experiences. It's the texture of life, not the measurement. Think about it. A week filled with routine, the same commute, the same meetings, the same Netflix scroll, blurs into nothing. But a single, spontaneous road trip? It feels longer, deeper, because your brain was awake, fully engaged, actually living those moments. So is time shrinking? Or are we just letting it slip silently through our fingers? Stick with us. Because in this video, we're diving deep into Bergson's mind-altering theory. We'll explore why time feels like it's flying, and how to reclaim it before it disappears completely. Because you're not imagining it. Birthdays, holidays, even Mondays, they really do come faster every year. One moment, you're setting goals for January. The next, you're scrambling for Halloween costumes. Didn't it feel like June just yesterday? And science agrees. Studies show that most adults over 30 experience a sense of time acceleration with every passing year. Why? Well, part of the explanation lies in something called proportional theory. When you're 10 years old, a single year is 10% of your life. That's massive. But by age 50, a year is only 2%. Your brain literally scales time smaller and smaller. But that's only part of the puzzle. Neuroscience gives us the other piece. It turns out that routine kills perception. When life becomes predictable, same coffee, same drive, same scroll through your feed, your brain stops creating vivid memories. No new moments, no mental bookmarks, just repetition. Time doesn't slow down, it collapses. But here's where things get wild. In 1922, two intellectual giants went to war over the meaning of time itself, Albert Einstein and Henri Bergson. Einstein's theory of relativity treated time as a fourth dimension, fixed, measurable, ticking identically across the universe. But Bergson, he called that view a crime against lived experience. To Bergson, Einstein's clock time was a useful illusion, but not real time. Real time, la durée, is fluid, personal, and shaped by consciousness itself. Imagine it this way. Einstein's time is what your phone counts. Bergson's time is what you feel when you're laughing with friends, grieving a loss, or stuck in traffic. Science measures intervals. But philosophy asks, why does a minute of boredom drag, while a year of joy vanishes. Einstein saw time as physics. Bergson saw it as the essence of being human. To Einstein, aging was a cosmic equation. To Bergson, it was the tragedy of modern life. We traded depth for efficiency, rushed through rich moments in exchange for hollow productivity. We let clocks define our worth and shrank our sense of time into spreadsheet cells. So is time really speeding up? Or are we simply numbing ourselves to its flow? The answer lies in Bergson's bold rebellion. A rebellion against the tyranny of ticks and tocks. And in the next section, we'll explore the two versions of time. One you're used to, and one you've likely forgotten how to feel. Time is not a line. It's a river. Bergson didn't see time as a series of numbers marching forward on a screen. He saw it as a river, not a straight river, but one that bends, swirls, rushes, or slows down, depending on where you're standing and how you're living. While science dissects time into measurable units, seconds, minutes, hours, Bergson argued that real time, what he called la durée, is something far more personal. The raw, unfiltered experience of being alive. The tyranny of clock time. In modern life, we're chained to schedules. We see time as a resource, something to spend, waste, or optimize. But Bergson warned that this mindset turns us into prisoners of efficiency. Clocks and calendars. They're not reality, they're useful fictions, tools we created to organize society, not to understand existence. Think of it like this. A map of Paris is not Paris. It's a simplified sketch, helpful, but not the real thing. In the same way, clock time is not real time. It's a flat outline of something much richer. Time as a symphony. Bergson's La Durée is time as your consciousness experiences it. Not ticks and tocks, but a flowing, interwoven stream of memories, sensations, and emotions. That's why 10 minutes in a boring meeting feels like an eternity. But 10 minutes laughing with friends disappears in a flash, because your brain doesn't count seconds, it weaves stories. When you're bored, your mind clings to each passing moment, stretching it painfully. When you're engaged, your awareness melts into the moment and time compresses. Bergson called this the paradox of intensity. The richer the moment, the faster it seems to vanish. The memory illusion. Here's where Bergson gets radical, almost poetic. Your past isn't dead. It's alive, here now, shaping how you experience time. Every memory, every habit, every emotion bleeds into your present, filtering how you perceive. The moment you're living. That's why trauma can make minutes feel like hours, and nostalgia can make decades feel like yesterday. This is one of the most profound reasons why aging warps our sense of time. The fewer firsts, the faster life. Feels, as we grow older, we collect fewer firsts. The first kiss, the first job, the first time traveling somewhere unfamiliar. These moments anchor memory, like bright flags marking the timeline of your life. But once life becomes routine, the brain stops logging new markers. Days blur into weeks, weeks blur into months. Time flattens into a gray, forgettable sequence, and la durée, it begins to shrink. Bergson versus Einstein, the battle for time. This idea, this emotional, subjective, human version of time, put Bergson in direct conflict with the most famous physicist of all time, Albert Einstein. Einstein reduced time to a coordinate in space-time, a fourth dimension, rigid, mathematical, measurable. But at their infamous 1922 debate, Bergson stood up and said, "Your equations ignore the human heart." To him, Einstein's time was a corpse on a lab table, lifeless, dissected, drained of meaning. La durée, in contrast, was a beating pulse. Messy, subjective, beautiful, inseparable from what it means to be human. Waiting versus living, the ultimate. Analogy, let's make it real. Scenario 1, you're waiting at the DMV. You glance at your phone every 30 seconds. Each minute drags. Your brain, starved of stimulation, amplifies the boredom. Scenario 2, you're at a concert. The crowd's electric. You're screaming lyrics with strangers. Hours vanish in what feels like moments. Later, you remember it as a vivid blur. Here's the twist. Clock time says both lasted the same. But Bergson would say the concert was longer because you lived more. Why this matters more than ever today, we are drowning in clock time. Productivity apps, deadlines, social media, and constant scrolling fracture our attention. They turn life into a checklist. But Bergson's solution? Rebel time isn't your enemy, it's your canvas. Bergson believed that time is not a prison, it's a canvas, and the richer you fill it, the slower and more vibrant it feels. So how do you rebel against the tyranny of the clock? Simple. Seek novelty. Lose yourself in art. Wander through nature. Have long, deep conversations that make you forget to check the time. Ironically, the more you waste time this way, the richer it becomes. Next time you panic about how fast the year flew by, ask yourself, did I really live it, or just count it? Ever scrolled through photos from 5 years ago and thought, wait, that was half a decade ago? Birthdays arrive like clockwork, but each one feels closer to the last. Why does adulthood feel like a bullet train you can't slow down? The answer lies in 3 powerful brain mechanics: novelty, routine, and memory. Let's break them down. The novelty effect: new experiences stretch time. Your brain is a novelty junkie. Every time you experience something new, a first kiss, a new country, a weird TikTok trend, your brain shifts into hyperdrive. It starts soaking in detail, encoding fresh memories, and in the process, it literally slows your perception of time. A 2016 study found that people exposed to unfamiliar music perceive time as 20% longer than those listening to repetitive tunes. Why? Because novelty activates the hippocampus, your brain's memory factory. It has to work harder. That means more mental effort, more time-stamped memories, and the sense that time is expanding. Childhood's secret weapon. This is why childhood feels so spacious. Every day was a first. Your first bike ride, your first ice cream cone, even your first wiggly tooth. But as adults, we start automating life. Same route to work, same meals, same shows. Without novelty, the hippocampus naps and time shrinks. The routine effect, repetition, compresses time. Routine is the silent thief of time. When you repeat the same tasks, commuting, scrolling, email, grocery shopping, your brain goes into autopilot. A region called the basal ganglia takes over to reduce effort. It's efficient, but it erases emotional texture. Example, your first day at a new job feels endless. New names, new rules, coffee machine mysteries. By day 100, you're a zombie. Same desk, same tasks, same meetings. The week blurs into one mental screenshot. Routine conserves energy, but it steals presence. Bergson's La Durée withers when life becomes predictable. Einstein's clock may keep ticking. But your lived time, the raw emotional texture of your life, shrinks to a dot. 3. Memory compression. The storage illusion. Here's the real kicker. You don't actually experience time as it passes. You reconstruct it later. When you look back, your brain doesn't replay every second. It skims the highlights. The fewer highlights you create, the fewer mental bookmarks you have, and that makes time feel truncated. The vacation test. Let's say you spend 1 week in Tokyo. Street food, shrines, missed trains, every day packed with newness. That week feels huge in memory, vivid and full. Now compare that to a routine work week. Same tasks, same lunch, no variety. Even if both weeks were the same, 168 hours, Tokyo wins. Because novelty forced your brain to log more memories. Aging's cruel trick: as we age, we accumulate fewer firsts. Milestones like marriage, promotions, and mortgages matter. But they don't contain the same micro-novelty as childhood did. So your brain starts compressing time into broad, forgettable categories. That job I tolerated. The Amazon Prime era. My early 30s. Years that should feel like chapters, now feel like headings. Don't let time flatline when every day feels the same. When years blur into vague, colorless decades, you don't feel like you're aging through chapters. You feel like you're flipping through headings. That's what happens when life loses its intensity. When time becomes mechanical, not meaningful. And Bergson sounded the alarm. This isn't just biology. It's a philosophical crisis. He warned that modern life's obsession with efficiency is suffocating la durée, our lived emotional time. We've replaced adventure with algorithms, spontaneity with schedules. Clocks rule our days, but clocks don't measure life. They only measure the space between obligations. The fix? Inject novelty. Bergson's solution isn't complicated. Break the rhythm. Jolt your senses. Wake up your time. Take a different route to work. Try a hobby that scares you just a little. Dance in the rain like no one's watching. These aren't cliches. They're neurological detonators. Moments that shock the hippocampus awake, stretching time and making it feel rich again. The ultimate irony. Einstein versus Bergson. Here's the twist of history. Einstein proved time is relative, but Bergson made it personal. As you age, time feels like it accelerates. Not because the cosmos spins faster, but because you've let your brain coast. Routine is safe, but it's a bargain with the devil. You trade depth for speed, presence for productivity. So the next time you sigh, where did the week go? Don't blame the clock, blame your habits. The good news? You hold the reset button. And the antidote: novelty. April 1922, the great time debate. Let's zoom back to Paris, spring of 1922. The city buzzed with intellectual electricity. Albert Einstein, fresh off his Nobel Prize, had arrived to deliver a lecture on relativity. Waiting for him, Henri Bergson, France's most revered philosopher. Their clash wasn't just a debate. It was a collision of worlds. Physics versus philosophy. Clocks versus consciousness. The cosmos versus the human heart. Einstein's view. Time as math. Einstein had revolutionized physics by framing time as a fourth dimension, a fabric intertwined with space. His equations showed that time slows near massive objects, or at extreme speeds. In Einstein's world, twins could age differently if one traveled through space. To him, time was mathematical, impersonal, always relative to the observer's motion. Clocks, not feelings, defined it. Bergson's response: time is alive. Bergson didn't deny that time was relative, but he challenged what kind of relativity mattered most. To him, la durée, the lived time of memory, anticipation, and emotion, was the essence of reality. Clocks, he said, are tools of convenience, not truth. Einstein's time, Bergson declared, is a phantom. It ignores waiting, regret, joy, the very fabric of what makes us human. At the debate, Bergson posed a devastating critique of Einstein's famous twin paradox. If one twin ages slower in space, he asked, wouldn't her consciousness still feel the full passage of time? Einstein's reply was icy. The time of the philosophers does not exist. There is only the time of the physicist. Who won? In the eyes of the scientific world, Einstein did. Bergson was accused of misunderstanding relativity. His academic reputation began to fade. But in the world of art, psychology, and human experience, Bergson's ideas thrived. Because for those who cared about more than equations, Einstein's clock time reduced life to a formula. Bergson's La Durée preserved the poetry of being alive, the ache of nostalgia, the rush of creativity, the weight of mortality. Legacy. A divided world Einstein reshaped modern physics. Today's GPS satellites adjust for time dilation. Quantum mechanics leans on the mathematics of space-time. But Bergson's vision found a second life in literature, psychology, mindfulness, and philosophy. And today, neuroscience is proving many of his intuitions right. Your brain doesn't just track time. It shapes it. Neuroscientists today have found that Bergson was right. Time is not just something we count, it's something we feel. When you daydream, reflect, or reminisce, your brain lights up in a network called the default mode network, a web of regions that activate when you're lost in thought, revisiting the past, or imagining the future. And research into time perception adds even more nuance. Stress compresses time, awe stretches it. That's La Durée in action. The modern paradox, living in Einstein's universe, but feeling Bergson's time. Here's the strange duality we live with today. We measure our days in minutes, metrics, and deadlines. But when we talk about what matters most, we measure life in moments. So the debate lingers. Can we reconcile cosmic time with human time? Einstein gave us the tools to calculate black holes. Bergson reminds us why we bother to look up at the stars. Together, they reveal time's two faces. One is a dimension to map, the other is a mystery to live. Time isn't slipping away. Your brain's just on autopilot. Think time is vanishing faster and faster? It's not. You've just let your brain get lazy. But here's the good news. You can hack your perception of time. No DeLorean required. Let's talk about how to stretch days, weeks, and years into something that feels alive again. Trick your brain with novelty. Your brain is like a smartphone camera. It only captures high-definition memories when something new happens. Novelty forces your hippocampus to work harder, creating vivid mental markers that slow time down. Try this. Be a tourist in your own city. Take a different route to work. Order the weirdest dish on the menu. Learn something awkward, like a language, an instrument, or even a TikTok dance. It's not about mastering it. It's about breaking the default script. Swap Netflix for a live improv show. Replace doom scrolling with stargazing pro tip. Plan one mini-adventure a week. It doesn't have to be grand. It could be as simple as cooking a bizarre recipe or starting a conversation with a stranger. Novelty isn't luxury. It's how you wake up time. Live mindfully. Hijack the present. Mindfulness isn't just for yogis. It's a time-stretching superpower. When you're fully present, you anchor yourself in La Durée, resisting your brain's impulse to compress every moment into a forgettable blur. Try this grounding trick. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Name 5 things you can see, things you can feel, things you can hear, things you can smell, thing you can taste. It forces you to be in the moment. Drink your coffee like it's a $100 bottle of wine. Notice the aroma, the warmth, the bitterness. Meditate, just 3 minutes a day. Focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, gently pull it back. No apps, no pressure, just presence. Why it works. Mindfulness blocks your brain's habit of time traveling into regrets or worries. It brings you back to the tick, not just the talks. 3. Break the routine. Confuse your brain. Predictability is time's kryptonite. Disrupt your patterns. Create mental speed bumps that make your brain slow down and notice. Rearrange your furniture. Change your phone wallpaper. Shower in the dark. Eat dessert first. Work from a park. Take a reverse day, where you do everything backward. Embrace micro risks. Wear an outfit that intimidates you. Sing in an elevator. Ask someone a bold question. Pro tip. Use the rule of 3. Every single day, change 3 small things. Your breakfast, your playlist, your route home. Small shocks add up to big perceptual shifts. Embrace boredom. Let time breathe. Doing nothing actually slows time down. Constant stimulation, emails, TikTok, podcasts, overloads your brain. It turns your day into a mental flatline. Bergson believed that boredom isn't a waste. It's where creativity and la durée thrive. Try this. Schedule blank space, 10 minutes a day to stare out the window. Let yourself daydream. Watch the clouds. Delete filler apps. Ditch just one app that eats your time without giving anything back. Take back your time. Let's be honest. How much of your time is spent looking at a screen? Scrolling endlessly through Instagram, TikTok, or emails you'll forget 5 minutes. Later? Here's a simple challenge. Take a tech Sabbath. 1 hour a week. No screens, no notifications, no pings, no dopamine drip, just space. Let your mind wander. Let time breathe again. Because here's Bergson's radical insight. Time doesn't vanish, it dilutes. It thins out, not because there isn't enough of it, but because we scatter our attention across 1,000 trivial things. Trade efficiency for intensity. We've been conditioned to worship efficiency, to chase speed, output, optimization. But Bergson flips the script. He says, trade efficiency for intensity. Don't ask, how much did I get done today? Ask, how deeply did I experience anything at all? Stop counting tasks. Start collecting moments. Bergson's law. It's not a theory, it's a rebellion. This isn't some feel-good productivity hack. It's a philosophical rebellion. Bergson's law isn't about maximizing your hours. It's about reclaiming them. It's about living inside the moment instead of watching it pass through a filter. So tonight, ask yourself, will I count the hours or live them? Time isn't a number. It's a feeling. Time isn't just something clocks measure. It's something you decide. You decide if your life slips by or lingers. You decide if your memories are vivid stories or blurred screenshots. And the more you chase novelty, mindfulness, and rebellion against routine, the richer time becomes, not longer, deeper. Tell us your moment, so tell us. When did time feel slowest for you? Was it a childhood summer that never seemed to end? A heartbreak that stretched every second? A moment of awe when the world stopped? Spinning? Drop your story in the comments. We'll feature the most powerful ones in our next video. And if this resonated with you, subscribe and smash that bell. Because this isn't just a channel, it's a time rebellion.